looks like. A lot of people can wait till marriage with no prior experience, and they don't know that their partner and them aren't compatible, or the partner is just terrible at whatever they're doing. If you don't have a high standard to measure something to, you could be settling for something you deserve better. A lot of people who waited to marriage have expressed regret. Some people didn't express regret. I think waiting to marriage for purity reasons, I don't like the ramifications of that. You're not pure because you haven't had certain activity. Integrity is important. I would rather someone has integrity than be a pure person. Purity is subjective. I mean, being a virgin doesn't make you a good person. And integrity is the most important. You can be the person with the most consistent integrity and have slept with 15 people. As long as you openly communicate, you have integrity, you treat people with respect, you're upfront with your desires, intentions, or the lack of intentions. You can have integrity and be active. The church does teach a lot of toxic dynamics about purity, sex, gender roles. The churches I grew up in taught that a man's best bet was to find a virgin girl. And it's like, just because someone has never had sex, they've never dated, and they've never been in a relationship, does not make them any less likely to cheat, lie, or to contract a disease. Loyalty is not measured by the lack of body count or the excessive body count, even though I don't believe in excessive body count. You can't measure someone's integrity by how many partners they've had. Integrity is more important. In my opinion, purity matters. Well, purity matters. Integrity matters. Purity doesn't. Purity is a word men created so they could sell women for higher profit to potential son-in-laws. Purity does not exist. It's a made-up thing like virginity. It does not exist. Integrity is what we should be going for. You can be someone of high integrity and have had 12 girlfriends and 7 partners. As I said before, as long as you're upfront, you communicate, you set boundaries, and you inform people what your intentions are, that is someone with integrity. If your intention is just to date people without marriage intentions, as long as you convey that up front, you have integrity. Not everybody is moving toward marriage. The most loyal, loving relationships I have ever met were polyamorous, open relationship, non-monogamous relationships. Very anti-biblical, very very anti-traditionalist. You don't have to play by anyone's rules as long as your partner is aware, is compatible, and consents. That is someone with integrity. The problem with sex education in church is they want it to become the law. Churches, conservative Christian institutions will give money to lobbyists to get abstinence only in schools. when they know it doesn't work? Who cares about purity? Purity is a misogynistic word. We need integrity. Children can't have safe sex until they're educated and they can make a well-rounded, objective choice. You can't control what your kids think about or what they attempt to do when it comes to these kind of things. You can have open conversations. Yes, it is very dangerous for two 16-year-olds to be doing something like this. But these things and circumstances happen. Parents and adults should be the source of knowledge, not the source of hiding that knowledge. If something isn't factually based, don't teach your kids, whatever it is. When you live in a country that less than 25% are required by law to teach factually, consensually, educational-wise, sexual education, we should not be shocked with the high levels of disease, curable or not, that young people face. Because purity culture is a failure. It creates predators. It creates an environment where women can't be safe. They can't report. They can't get support. We need to reject purity culture. We need to reject sexism. We need to reject racism. We need to reject that every orientation is the same. Some people will want sex. Some people won't. Some people are in the middle where sometimes, but not all the time. There is no normal. There is normal for you, but there's not normal that fits everybody. And we need to start educating kids about safety first, consensual first, and leave behind prehistoric abstinence-only education. Because it didn't help anyone during the AIDS crisis. It didn't. Because if you don't teach kids how to come protected, you create more people that have to be on medication their whole life or learn after the fact that there was another way. I grew up with no sex ed education at all. I was about 18 when I learned a little about STIs, but it was always condemned after the fact as a sin. No one ever talked positively about sex at all. I never saw it, never experienced it, have never done it. I never had any positive conversations about it with anyone. Not anyone in my home, no siblings, no adults, nothing. Silence can create negative feelings about something. If people in positions of authority aren't constantly talking about the positives about sex, children will grow up thinking it's dirty. It's only dirty if you don't do it in a protective way. It's unsafe. But we need to stop seeing people's value intrinsically connected to how they approach, whether it's abstinence or activity. People's value is based on their integrity, not their body count. And we need to stop asking people about their body count. What people do before they meet you is not your business. If you want to share it, fine. But if you can't be with somebody who doesn't have a specific body count or the lack thereof, you might not be the kind of person women need in their lives. Because if you expect women to have one type of body count and you don't fit that, that's hypocrisy. Requiring a woman to be something or not do something you can't do or something you wouldn't stop doing makes you a hypocrite. Men need to stop looking for women just because they're virgins. That's disgusting. Men should value women, and women should value men for their integrity and for being a safe place. It doesn't matter about your body count. It matters how you treated the people you chose to be with. And until we shame people who know that abstinence-only education doesn't work, call them out, and silence this abstinence-only political religious agenda, we are killing children. Or worse, we are creating carriers for incurable disease. And forcing monogamy on people isn't right either. You can be safe and not be monogamous. When you create an idol out of sex, family, marriage, you're setting people up to fail. And the majority of the time, it's the women that will reap the consequences. Because according to the medical institutes in America, receiving partners have the highest stats of contracting a disease. And women are probably the majority of people who